What is going on, everyone, and welcome to the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be showing you my current draft for the upcoming FPL season, which, as you can tell by the title, includes both Haaland and Salah. Now look, there's no doubt about it, starting with both these premiums does make the balance of your team a lot worse, and there are a lot of other players that have to miss out to fund these too, but I'm just not sure I feel comfortable starting without either of them. So that is why right now they're both in my team. I'm going to be building my team position by position, player by player, as always on Fantasy Football Hub's My Team tool. If you would like to do the same, you can do so for free, as you can see on screen, by clicking the link in the description, and that will give your team a rating and a predicted points for game week 1, so you know how good it is. Right, without further ado, let's get into the goalkeepers. In goal, I've gone with David Raya, obviously the Arsenal keeper. The reason for this is that he is the cheapest way into the Arsenal defence. Now, Gabriel obviously has a higher point ceiling. Saliba arguably does as well. But there has to be some sacrifices made in this team. And this means that there's going to be no Arsenal defender. But Raya hopefully will cover the best defence in the league last season. Now, obviously, because I've got Raya in goal, yeah, his fixtures are pretty hit and miss, to be fair. But I'm not going to be benching him. I'm not going to be rotating him anytime soon. So that just means I've gone for a budget keeper next to him in Bentley. This could be Danny Ward, to be fair. Anyone that looks like they might play from the 4 million slot, they're not going to play, but just there for a little bit of insurance. But yeah, you know, I back Raya. I really do. I think Arsenal's defence is going to carry on in the same vein of form that they left off last season. To be fair, that they had the whole of last season where they just were elite. I mean, genuinely, they were one of the best defences that we have seen in the Premier League. And I'm saying this with a Chelsea top on from maybe the 2004 season, around that sort of time. But they were elite. Their expected numbers conceded were phenomenal. They had the most clean sheets. So yeah, I think Raya is a good pick. Okay, now moving on towards the defence. Now, the glaring omission here that is in a lot of teams is Trent Alexander-Arnold. I just cannot get to him. He's just a little bit too much money. And this is probably the biggest downfall with this side, is that I can't get him. Gvardiol is in there. I think he needs to be in every team. I'm going to be honest. I just think he is just class. He's so attacking. You could argue that he's actually, at the end of last season, more attacking than Trent. He was Man City's best attacker last year towards the end. And he's been classified as a defender. It's a joke, really. But I expect him to continue on in that left back / left midfield sort of hybrid role. Not entirely sure who else is going to be in the Man City defence, to be honest, at the start of the season, because the likes of Walker, Stones obviously went quite deep in international tournaments. I'm not sure if they're going to necessarily be chucked right back into the first team, whereas Gvardiol, I'm sure, will be nailed for the start of the season. And the fixtures, while not amazing, Chelsea away is the sort of game where City just turn up and potentially get a clean sheet. We all know that Man City clean sheets are very hard to predict. I think this is a good run, good enough run with someone that has, you know, obviously a massive ceiling for attacking returns as well. Now, the rest of the defense, I'm going to be honest, is pretty weak. It includes a couple of names that you probably would expect in Konza and Dan Burn, who I think rotate extremely well. Burn would start the majority of games through to game week 5, and then after that, Konza would come into the team game week 4, game week 5 sort of time. However, because of the money spent on the players to come, the only other playing defender that I have really is going to be Anderson from Palace. Now look, no doubt about it, defence here is the weakest sort of sector of this team. But under Ole Glasner, Palace looked a completely different side defensively. I mean, they looked just phenomenal. I know going forward they were excellent as well, scoring a bunch of goals, and there is going to be another Palace player in this team. But I think Anderson has a little bit of goal threat, and I think despite the fact that the fixtures don't look great if you're just looking at the first 3 or so, just look at the home fixtures. I think there's definitely some clean sheet potential in there. I mean, game week 2, game week 4, you'd take 2 clean sheets out of 4, 100% for a 4.5 million defender. And I genuinely do think that Palace have a decent outside chance of 2 clean sheets. So to start the season with Anderson, I think is completely fine. And then my final defender is going to be, as it stands, Harwood Bellis of Southampton, recently signed from City after being on loan there last year. This player doesn't really matter. I just want someone that's going to play. And as you can see, predicted to score 11 points, predicted to be in the team. It'd be weird if he wasn't, given that he's just signed. So yeah, that is a defence. Not a lot of money spent, but I don't mind it, especially with the BPS changes to defenders. I do think that their cap is slightly lower. Trent, for example, if he scores a goal but concedes and he's in maybe a free scoring Liverpool team, I think he is less likely to get the top bonus. Whereas in the past, it was nailed on for him. That might not be the case, to be fair. We know how high his ceiling is with the bonus in terms of chances created, key passes, etc., and maybe even shots on target this year as well. Maybe I'm just trying to make myself feel more comfortable with not going for him, but I can't get him into the team. And yeah, as I said, defense is the weakest point of this 15. Okay, moving on to midfield. Now, one man that we know is in there is Salah. I think he is the best captain option for game week 1. And I think even after that, Brentford at home is a great fixture, right? Look at 4 and 5. Phenomenal home fixtures. We don't know exactly what his form's going to be this year. But you can never really predict it, can you? You just got to go based off fixtures a lot of the time. And we know what he can do. And towards the back end of last season, he was looking a little bit back to his normal self. Who knows? Under a new manager, might be a slightly different positional role for him. He was coming a little bit too wide, in my opinion, towards the end of last season and throughout the season, really. That probably will change now, but who knows? I just think you can't really bet against him. And yeah, as I said, he is the best captain, in my opinion, for game week 1. And the main reason that he's in there is because you can always move down from him. You can always move from Salah to any other midfielder. And at the start of the season, where we don't have loads and loads of information about which players are in form and which players are likely to do well, obviously, I do think it is the safest bet a lot of the time to go with the highest priced player in each position, just to ensure that you can get to anyone. Now, I say that obviously without Trent in my team. But yeah, as I said, there have to be sacrifices made. Next to him, a player I've already sort of alluded at, Eze, nailed. Nailed in my team. No matter what I do with my team, I think Eze is 100% nailed. Just so good in the last half of last year, the second half of last year, when Glasner came in. What did he get? 19 points in the final game week. And I'm not completely convinced that he is a better FPL option with Elise not in the team. Yes, he'll be on more set pieces, and you'd think he'd have to be more involved for Palace to do well. But I also think that losing a player that is as great and creative as Elise is going to harm that team and all the other players around Eze and the other attackers. But yeah, no doubt about it. For 7 million, that's great value. I think if he'd performed the way he did in the second half of last season, in the first, we're looking at like an £8.5, £9 million player. Next up, I've got a man from Newcastle, Anthony Gordon. This is a player that I just absolutely loved owning last season. And I think we know how good he is at home. And the home fixtures in the first 3 really suit him. Southampton at home, Spurs at home. I think those are key fixtures to target for him. A lot of managers are going with Isak, to the extent that I don't even know if he will be that important in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, if everyone has the same player, then their points aren't really that impactful. So I think doubling up on the Newcastle attack is the way to go potentially. I think he's at a nice price point, a little bit cheaper than the sort of mid-price, well, sort of getting towards premium players in the likes of Saka, Palmer, Foden and Son. I don't know. I'm just happy to kind of risk not going with one of those early in the season, banking on Gordon to do extremely well in those home fixtures. And to be fair, like the away fixtures are pretty good as well, right? First 5 doesn't get too much better than that. I think Gordon is a good pick. Okay, next up in midfield, we have a player that is a little bit more debatable. It's Morgan Gibbs-White from Nottingham Forest. Now, I've no idea why he's showing in a Newcastle kit. That'll be fixed. Obviously, a little bit of a glitch there. Doesn't play for Newcastle, plays for Forest. But he's a player that I really like. I'm not seeing him in loads of drafts at the moment. Around the 6.5 million price bracket, there aren't loads and loads of options. I mean, looking here, it's like Bailey, Johnson, Garnacho, Hwang. None of those really excite me. I mean, maybe the top 2 if they were 100% nailed and were doing well. But I think Gibbs-White's fixtures over the first 3 are just fantastic. Thankfully, he's gone back to having a Forest kit there. Bournemouth at home, Wolves at home, with Southampton away in the middle. Now, yeah, I'm not looking super far ahead there, but even if you were to skip out a Liverpool game and just go to Brighton away, Fulham at home, even Chelsea away, who knows how we'll be doing at that moment in time. I like it. I like it a lot. I think he's going to be on pretty much every set piece. He's extremely involved, and I think he is, right now, the best option at that price bracket. Now, obviously, he's not one of the top 5 midfielders, or probably top 10 midfielders. And I'm missing out on a lot of players here. But that is to fund Salah and Haaland. And that is the question that we have to be thinking about. Is it worth going for both Salah and Haaland to miss out on a lot of these players on screen right here. I'm not sure. Right now I'm thinking it potentially is. But yeah, that is what I'm thinking. And to finish things off, this is just going to be any random 4.5 million mid. Luongo's in there right now as someone that I think will play. It could easily be Harry Winks as well. Just any 4.5 million mid that's gonna potentially start for their team, I think will be good there. Okay, let's move on now to forwards. And one man that obviously has to be there is Haaland. I want to actually spend some time and talk about him because we need to remember, I think, just how good of an FPL asset this man can be. When it comes to captaincy, because the points are doubled, in effect, the price of the player is halved. I know it's a bit of a weird concept, but if you're guaranteed to captain a player every week, then their price is in effect half because you're getting double their points. Sounds odd, but if you think about it, Ipswich at home, game week 2, there's no doubt about it, he is the best captain option. If he goes and gets 21 points in that game, for example, gets a hat-trick, 42 points as captain, I just don't see anyone else in the game, in game week 2, who could compete with that. Do you captain Salah at home to Brentford? If he does well in game week 1, that's it. That's what you'd have to do, I suppose. Maybe you go for someone like a Foden. I'm not sure about that. If Haaland is on form and looks good pre-season, I think he's going to be extremely hard to ignore. Now FPL have priced him brilliantly, I will say that, by making him the most expensive player of all time. Any cheaper than this, I think he would be in the majority of teams. I mean, 14 million, he's in every team, I think. But 15 million, yeah, he is obviously on the expensive side. I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure it's worth the risk early season of going against him. If he does bang in that game, you are relying on all your other players to do well and to get somewhat close to matching his captaincy as well. It's just whether you think that Salah can do that at home to Brentford. Based on the predicted points here, it suggests that it is probably worth the risk. I'm just not sure it is. He is the most explosive player I can remember in probably Premier League history, to be honest. Let me know in the comments if you agree with that. But a man that can just out of nowhere score 3 or 4 goals, maybe a little bit akin to Aguero actually. But yeah, he's just an absolute beast. And I think if you don't have him, and say you have an 8.5 million striker who Isak is going to be in there, say you have Watkins instead at 9 million and then a 5.5 or whatever, it's very, very hard without wildcarding, I think, to get up to Haaland. And that's part of the reason why I want to start with him. You can always come down off him, pick the best forward, under 10 million who's doing well. You can go to Havertz even, for example. Tony could be doing well at that point. Mateta if Palace start really strongly. You can't go back up to a Haaland without completely destroying your team. So I think, yeah, right now I'm leading towards going for him. I've actually noticed a lot of you in the comments of our other guest teams, our other experts teams who haven't got Haaland saying when it comes to Game Week 1, they will change their mind. Because obviously the closer you get to that game, maybe not as much the Chelsea away game, although I do think he could do very well in that game as well, but it's mainly the Ipswich at home game, Game Week 2, the scarier it's going to get, the prospect of not owning him. So right now, that's what I'm thinking. Big captaincy call, Game Week 2, and I can't see him not just doing unbelievably well in that game week. Let's round things off with the last player in this team. I would love it to be João Pedro, and right now I'm going to put him in. There are a lot of rumours about what's going on with him at the moment in terms of his injury. I don't know what's going on, but he is, in my opinion, the best 5.5 million mid. If he's fit, he's nailed in my team. No doubt about that. But yeah, for now, he's in. We don't know what's going to go on with him, but he should be on penalties. I think his minutes will be more assured this season if fit. And I think Brighton are one of those teams that they don't necessarily rely on fixtures, but they can do very well against statistically stronger defences. Now, the fixtures are very good anyway. I mean, United at home, Ipswich at home, Forest at home is a really good start. And even further on from that, beyond the fixture ticker on Fantasy Football Hub, it looks good for Brighton. So yeah, that is the team. And I think, although not the most balanced, it is potentially the most potent. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But let's click save on this and optimize and see what the team rating is. 93% team rating with a predicted points of 64.4. That is extremely healthy. I'm going to be honest. That puts my current draft second in the overall leaderboard of guests that we've had on the channel. I will take that 100%, especially given the caliber of guests that we've had on. Very, very happy with that. Indeed. Now, guys, if you think you can beat my team rating percentage, and my predicted points, go and click on the link in the description. Get your team rated for free by clicking it. All you need to do, it's super easy. Take a screenshot of your team and then just click upload on Fantasy Football Hub. It's as simple as that. You can see it on screen now. A very easy demonstration. Genuinely takes 5 to 10 seconds. You don't have to put a player in position by position anymore. It's way easier than that. And you can also do it with multiple different drafts that you might have. It's really, really simple. And then, yeah, you can see your team rating and see if you're beating mine. I'd also love to know in the comments down below, if you've done a draft with Haaland and Salah, can you get a higher team rating than 93%? Am I missing out somewhere? Let me know in the comments down below. However, there is a chance that this team could be improved. If you sign up to Fantasy Football Hub today, first of all, you get 50% off in pre-season, a phenomenal offer. Secondly, if you do not win your mini league this year, you'll get all your money back, which is just crazy to say. And thirdly, you get access to loads of cool features. For example, AI recommended transfers. Now, what is this? Well, this is based on Fantasy Football Hub's data and algorithms. According to AI, how could your team be improved? As you can see, I'm doing it on the screen right now. Here are my recommended transfers for my team. Now, it's up to us. It's up to me. It's up to you as a manager, whether you want to go with these or not. But it's just food for thought. And it makes you think, oh, actually, is this player the best player in the spot? I'm not sure. So here are the moves. Wood, it loves Wood this season. It really does. The thing with Wood is that he has phenomenal starting fixtures. Now, the algorithm is not saying that Wood is a better player than Isak here, but he is 2.5 million cheaper. And with that money, you can upgrade Konza to Robertson, and then Harwood Bellis up to someone like a Tomiyasu or someone else in that price bracket. If we think Tomiyasu is going to start, doubling up on the best defense in the league is probably a good idea. I'm not so sure about that personally. I think that his minutes are much more at risk than perhaps this suggests. And this tool will get more intelligent as preseason goes on and we know what players are likely to start the season. But yeah, it's food for thought nonetheless. And it's always tailored, personalized to your team. So yeah, link down below, sign up 50% today, and you can take advantage of stuff like this. So anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this one. Really hope you enjoyed it and you enjoyed my team. Again, let me know in the comments down below if you can beat my team rating. One thing before I go, there's a link to a tweet that I have made in the description and the pinned comment as well, which is asking you guys to send me screenshots of your teams so that I can rate them in an upcoming video. Please go ahead, send me your teams and see if you can have the highest team rating out of anyone else that sent their teams. Click the link, reply, and you'll be in a future video. But for now, that's going to do it. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel for future episodes in the My Team series, and I'll catch you on the next one.